Welcome to Biochemistry Simplified, where science becomes simple and engaging. Today, we're entering the world of biostatistics, a powerful tool used to interpret biological data. Whether you're analyzing experiments, clinical trials, or surveys, this video will equip you with the essential concepts and real-life applications you need. So stay tuned, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more academic clarity.
Hello, good day everyone. This is yet another exciting lecture time coming to you from Biochemistry Simplified. My name is Dr. Elik. We started a series of lectures on biostatistics and we are moving right along. We've led that at the importance of biostatistics, what type of data is analyzed. We've also looked at bioassays and their importance, their applications. Now we want to see why is it important for to even do statistics in biology or medical sciences. So right, continuing on our series, we're looking this morning on the importance of statistics in biology and medical science. So I'll just pin that down. Importance of statistics in biology and medical sciences. Very key to know because it could be overlooked or assumed, but exactly of what importance is statistics to biology and medical sciences. Is it what has been there? Is it what we can do away with? Is it significant, or is it what we could just leave to stay on its own? You know, the importance of statistics in biology and medical sciences, has been recognized, has been used for almost 4 centuries or more ago. John Grant in 1662 has recorded and counted the death rate in London and made an alert system at that time. We also have people like Florence Nightingale who developed a mortality diagram called the COSCOMB, a pie chart that was used to describe the number of deaths in the military hospital that she ran during the Crimean War. In the year 1858, she became the first woman chosen as member of the Royal Statistical Society and later became an honorary member in the American Statistical Associations in the year 1854. We also have persons like John Snow also who use simple statistics to analyze the outcome on the cholera plague in London. So you see from analysis, statistics did not start today. It's been on for more than 4 centuries ago. So nowadays, or recently, statistical role cannot be separated from biological and medical research. Its role begins from research planning, sampling techniques, or experimental design, data analysis, and research conclusions. So, a statistical role, as we can see, it cannot be separated from science, it cannot be separated from biological research or medical research. It's the importance begins from one, the research planning. So from this point, you begin to look at statistics the research planning. 2, you have sampling techniques. Okay, then you also have experimental design, which could be um, also be used as your sampling technique, your experimental design. So it's sampling techniques or experimental design. Then you also have your data analysis. Data analysis, and of course your research conclusion. Your research conclusion is actually gotten from the results of analyzing your data. So it's very key in all of biology and medical science, because on a daily basis, people plan researches, they do research that has different outcomes, and in doing this, they have sampling techniques, they carry out experimental designs, they also do data analysis, and of course, from the data they analyzed, you come up with research conclusions. In medical sciences specifically, the statistical tool for the collection, presentation, and analysis of observed factual data relating to the causes and incidence of diseases are of paramount importance. For example, the factual data relating to the pulse rate, body temperature, blood pressure, heartbeats, weight, etc. of the patient greatly help the doctor for the proper diagnosis of this disease. Statistics are used to study heartbeats through electrocardiograms, such as your ECG. Perhaps the important application of statistics in medical sciences lies in using the test of significance, more precisely, students' t-test, for testing the efficiency of a manufactured injection or medicine for controlling or curing specific ailments. T-test for 2 samples is used to test the efficiency of a new drug or medicine. Test and compare the efficiency of the 2 drugs or 2 medicines. More and more applications of statistics are presently used in clinical investigation. So you look at that as a serious importance. And I'd like to specifically look at the medical science to pen down some important facts. We said for medical science, in particular, medical sciences, so you have statistical tools that are used. You have statistical tools, statistical tools that are used for the collection, are used for the collection, presentation, and of course, the analysis of observed factual data. The facts, what they are actually seeing. Factual data relating to the causes, and incidence of disease, and incidence of disease, and incidence of disease. Okay, and these are very paramount, because it involves statistical tools for both the collection, the presentation of these samples, or whatever is collected, and the analysis that gives a factual data relating to the causes and incidence of disease. So we look at what factual data could mean. Factual data could relate to, I'll take that on the next page. So factual data could relate to things like the pause rates. These are examples of data that could be collected. Things like the pause rate in medical sciences, things like your body temperature. They actually call these vitals. When you visit the hospital, tell you want to take your vitals. So they take things like the pulse rate, the temperature, the body temperature, the blood pressure, heartbeats, weight, etc. And these data that they collect all of this from the patients that visit the hospital. They collect this from patients that visit the hospital with one ailment or the other. Patients that visit the hospital with different types or kinds of ailments. Okay, so it's collected from the patient, and the collection of this data actually helps the doctor. Okay, the collection of this factual data, okay, collection of this factual data actually helps the doctor, or aids the doctor, help the doctor, sorry, let me do that again. Okay, so we said this help the doctor. Sorry about my pen is acting. It helps the doctor to do what? To give proper diagnosis of the ailments or the disease. Helps the doctor to give proper diagnosis of the disease or ailments with which the patient came. So that is very key in medicine. Okay, statistics also can be used, apart from this factual data, they can be used to study heartbeats through electrocardiograms such as ECG. The importance of statistics in medical sciences lies in using tests of significance, more importantly, t-tests. So another important in medicine, apart from this factual data that is collected, that aids the doctor in proper diagnosis, and of course, proper diagnosis will lead to the right and correct treatments of such ailments or disease. Okay, so another statistics in which statistics is applied or important in medical sciences is that it can be used. Statistics can be used to study heartbeats through used to study can be used to study heartbeats through um equipments like your electrocardiogram. Okay, through electrocardiogram and the specific test or assay is referred to as your ECG. ECG, which is your electrocardiogram. Okay, so that's another key way in which you study heartbeats and you're able to know the state of the heart of the patient, if the patient is prone to heart attacks, and that we immediately inform the doctor of what uh, proper treatment or advice that should be given to the patient. Okay, then in our uh, again, statistics can also apply as students' t-test of significance. So it could be of significance in medical sciences in the use of what? The test of significance. So statistics also use the test of what? Significance. And that is uh, more precisely referred to as what? Your student's t-test. All right, so they use this for testing the efficiency of a manufactured injection. So student t-test, for example, could be applied in testing um, manufactured efficiency of manufactured injections or medicines for controlling or curing specific ailments. Okay, then we also have t-test for two samples, and that could be used for the testing of efficiency of new drugs or medicine, and test and compare the efficiency of these two new drugs of two medicines. More and more applications of statistics are presently used in what? Clinical investigation. So there are more. So the the recent developments in the field of technology, especially computer and information technology, have made scientists as a part of decision-making procedures of many organizations. Why? There are so many software packages available for solving problems on experimental designs, forecasting, and simulations. So that's application of technology, computer, to all of these tests, applying it to statistics in medicine has greatly improved medical research, and sometimes even give results real time. So we want to look at the types of biological and medical data. We'll do that on the next page. So right here, we begin to look at the types of biological and medical data. So what are we looking at here? We want to know the types of data in biological and medical research. Most biological and medical data are qualitative in nature. You know, in our previous lectures, we've looked at qualitative and quantitative data analysis. So they are qualitative in nature. The scale of measurements of biological and medical data are usually nominal and ordinal scale, as we saw during our lecture on qualitative data. Okay, the data under this scale are, classifactory in nature, e.g., signs or symbols are used to represent items. The following are some of the data that could be found in biology and medical uh, sciences. So, in the types of biological and medical data, we established that they are what? Qualitative. They are qualitative type of data. they are qualitative type of data in nature. So naturally, they are qualitative, and the scale that is used are what nominal and ordinal scale. So qualitative type of data in nature, which uses the nominal or which uses the nominal or ordinal scales. All right, so let's just go ahead and see some of the types of data that are found in biological and medical sciences. Number one of such data, we have the types of data that are found. Types of data, you have number one as data on reported cases and deaths from notifiable diseases. So you have data on reported cases, data on reported cases and deaths from notifiable diseases. Notifiable diseases. So that's one type of data that is collected in biological and medical data or medical research. So point number two in types of data collected, we have morbidity data. Morbidity data. We also have vital statistics on live births, stillbirths, and maternal deaths. So we also have things like the vital statistics. Also have the things like vital statistics on live births, still births, and maternal deaths. So that's a type of data. Then point number four on the types of biological and medical data collected and seen in statistics. We also have data on infectious disease, very important, like the last one that almost erupted the world, coronavirus. So we have data on infectious diseases. Data on infectious diseases. Then we also have number five, data on communicable diseases. Okay, data on communicable diseases. Communicable diseases. And number six, which will be taken in the next page. Okay, so we take number six here, still on types of data in biological science. And we say number six, we have number five was data on communicable diseases. Number six, we have data on immunization activities. So we have data on immunization activities, data on immunization activities. Okay, then number seven, we also have data on expanded program on immunization in Nigeria, EPI. So we have data on expanded programs on immunization, expanded program on immunization in Nigeria. So expanded program on immunization is EPI in Nigeria. And number 8, okay, we also have health manpower distribution data. Health manpower distribution data. So that's basically the types of data we see in biological and medical sciences. So where are these data gotten from? So we begin to look at the sources of data in medical sciences. We'll take that on our next page. Continue on the next page, looking at the sources of biological and medical data. Okay, so right here, we look at the sources of biological and medical data. So we want to know how these biological data, where are they from, how do they get these listed biological types of data we have done. And one of the major source, number one of the major source, so we have sources. So number one of the major source we want to look at today is the Federal Ministry of Health. So we have the major source of biological and medical data is the Federal Ministry of Health, FMH. Number 2 on the list, looking at sources, is the principal source of biological data. The principal source of biological and medical data. Principal source of biological and medical data on the list of number 2 is the National Bureau of Statistics. The National Bureau of Statistics. We have number 3 among the sources. We have the Nigeria Medical Council. The Nigeria Medical Council, which is an association. That's another source of biological and medical data. And number 4 on the list is the Federal Ministry of Health that obtains routine medical statistics from the following sources. So you have the Federal Ministry of Health, the Federal Ministry of Health, which obtains routine medical statistics from the following sources. So we'll quickly look at the sources from which the Federal Ministry of Health obtain routine medical statistics, and we'll be seeing that on the next page. So one of the sources in which the Federal Ministry of Health obtain routine information or routine data is the State Ministry of Health. The State Ministry of Health. Number 2 or B, you have obtained this information or data routinely from teaching hospitals. Okay, then number 3 or C, you also have them obtaining this routine information from specialist hospitals. Alright, number 4, which is D, we also have this information coming from the primary healthcare centers. Then you have number 5, the zonal health board. They can obtain this routine medical information from sources like the zonal health board. We also have sources like the local government for routine vital statistics. So you have the local government for routine vital statistics. Okay, we also have this. How many do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Point number 7. We also have this data coming from the National Population Council, NPC, the National Population Commission, NPC, National Population Commission. Okay. On here, you also have this information coming from the State Ministry of Finances. This is where medical researchers get vital medical data that they work with. And we have I, which is the last but not the least, is the Office of the Accountant General. Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. of the Federation for Public Finance statistics on the sector. For public finance statistics on the sector. Okay, so these are several source points where routine medical statistics can be gotten from. Generally, biological and medical data could take the form of quantitative data. Qualitative data are those data that cannot be measured numerically. They are characterized by their nature. In other words, they are qualified, e.g., sex, genotype. Then you have quantitative data, are those data that can be measured numerically, e.g., age, weight, and height. It's important to recall that all of these qualitative and quantitative data has been treated in much details in previous lecture. So I'd like to refer you to previous lecture on biostatistics for biological sciences to get all of those data. Now we move on to the next page where we begin to look at the problems that are associated with collection of biological and medical data. So we move on to this page where we have the problems associated with the collection, associated with collection of biological and medical statistics, with collection of biological and medical statistics. So one of such major problem is that most biological and medical statistics are uncoordinated, incomplete, unreliable, and untimely. So the major one we want to start with in looking at the problems associated with collection of biological and medical statistics is that most biological and medical statistics are one uncoordinated, they also are incomplete. Then as such, they are unreliable and what? Untimely. That's a major problem. That's a major problem that is associated with the collection of biological and medical data. Another major problem we want to look at is the lack of proper communication between users and producers of biological and medical statistics. So communication is key. There's always a lack of proper communication between users and producers of biological and medical statistics, of biological and medical statistics. Another problem is the lack of cooperative attitudes on the parts of respondents. They always don't cooperate, especially when you want to get vital health information. They become suspicious. So you have the of cooperative, lack of cooperative attitude on the parts of respondents. You are curious why you want to know or get the information of from them, and as a result, some of them don't even give any information at all. So the last but not the least on the problems associated with collection of biological and medical data is that lack of trained personnel. Lack of trained personnel. A lot of persons going about the collection of this data are not adequately trained. So we've looked at the problems, which is also very vital to find ways in tackling these problems, give solutions to these problems. So in the next slide, we'll be looking at ways of tackling these problems. What problems? The problem of problems associated with the collection of biological and medical data. So on our next page, we'll be looking at that. So we're looking at solutions right here. And on this page, we want to quickly look at what ways these problems can be tackled. So you have ways of tackling the problems. Ways of tackling the problems. What problems now? Problems associated with the collection of biological and medical data. One of the major ways in which you can tackle this problem is by government and other stakeholders should put efforts to improve on the management of biological and medical statistics, especially in Nigeria. So one of the ways you do such prefer such solution is that governments and other stakeholders and other stakeholders should put effort in what? Should put effort to improve to improve on the management of biological and medical data, on the management of biological and medical data or statistics, right? Medical statistics, especially in Nigeria. So, on point number 2, another way of tackling this problem is that computerized databases of biological and medical statistics should be established. In Western countries, we have some of these solutions already in place. So they don't even have all of these as problems anymore. But in Africa, and especially in Nigeria, this is a huge problem. So computerize the databases of biological, and medical statistics. Medical statistics should be established. Be established. So another way of tackling this problem is that there is need to monitor the management of databases to ensure production of reliable statistics on this critical sector. So there is need as one major ways of tackling this problem. The need to monitor the management. We need to monitor the management of databases of databases. So generally, monitoring of databases, data science, everything data is crucial in this critical aspect or sector. And there is need to monitor the management of these databases to ensure the production of what? Reliable statistics. Production of reliable statistics on this critical sector. On this critical sector. Yeah, so that's basically the ways in which we manage this data. Then we begin to look at the types of variability associated with biostatistics and biomedical data, which is biological and medical data. We'll be looking at that on our next page. So we are looking at the type of variables or variability associated. So let me do this. Another pen color. Blue. So we see the types of variables or variability, okay, associated with biological and medical data, which you could say with biomedical data. So the key word here is the types of variables or variability that is associated with this medical and biomedical data. Variability is always present in measurements and it is universal. So no matter how many factors we control, we shall always find variables that are subject to large short-term fluctuations. So measurement of a variable requires statistical understanding. There is a greater variability in biological measurements due to the ways in which the various genetics of inheritance interact. Note that no two individuals of any species are exactly alike. It is therefore not possible to study one organism, no matter how detailed, and make any absolute conclusions concerning that organism. Or even if they are of the same species under the same conditions. So basically, there are three types of variability associated with biomedical data. So we established that there are three types of variability associated with biomedical data. And what are they? Number one, we have the natural or random variation. Then we have two as systematic errors and three assignable causes. So I just like to list the three types of variability. We say one is the natural or random variation. The natural or random variation. And two, we have the systematic errors. And three, we have what? Assignable causes. assignable causes. Great. So what does this actually mean? For instance, the natural or random variation. These are variations that are often said to be due to unassignable causes. So they are variations that occur due to what? Unassignable causes. Okay? They are due to unassignable causes. That is, the experimenter might not know, or the researcher might not know the cause of the variation. Examples of variations that are due to random variation or natural variation includes, so example of this variation right here, example, e.g., we have height of plants of the same variety of crop of the same heap. So we have, e.g., height of plants, height of plants of the same variety of crop, of the same variety of crop of the same heap. Okay, so that's example number one. Example number two on the natural or random variation is weight or height of identical twins. So you have weight or height of identical twins. Okay, so an example of stay on the natural variation, we have increase in body weight in twin pigs that are given the same diet, some management, etc. Same management, etc. So you could do the same thing to the same species, but you experience this variance. So number three in random or natural variation is the increase in body weight, increase in body weight, increase in body weight in twin pigs, in twin pigs that are given the same diet, that are given the same diet, all right, and they are given the same diet, and they have same management. Same management, etc. So, but for systematic errors, which is the point number two here, for systematic errors, we have this variation may be due to personal error or mistake. So, key word here is that it is due to personal errors or mistakes. So, it could be due to personal errors or mistakes. It is also called bias error. So, personal errors or systematic errors or mistakes can also be referred to as what? Bias errors. Okay? So what is bias? Can be in the form, this bias can be in the form of using some standard measuring device or not setting a scale to zero before the commencement of weighing. Experimental materials introduces bias into the experiment. So it's due to personal errors and mistakes, and we saw that experimental materials are the ones that introduces bias into a research or experiment. Then we have assignable causes. These are variations in biomedical data that may be caused by known factors introduced in the experiment. So, key word here is that this type of variability or variation is caused by what? Known factors. It may be caused by what? Known factors that are introduced in the experiment. Known factors that are introduced in the experiment. Are introduced in the experiment. Introduced in the experiments or research. Such variations is said to be due to assignable causes. That means the causes are known. They are known factors or known causes. They are known factors or known causes that are introduced into the experiment. For example, the use of different varieties of feed or different nitrogen levels will produce variation in measurements. Sometimes these factors may be inherited in the experimental materials. Okay, so they are known factors, and that's why it is referred to as what? Assignable causes. It's referred to as what? Assignable causes. They are causes known, or variability known, caused by known factors that are introduced. So the researcher is quite aware of such factors. Example of these known factors in experiments could include e.g., you have soil types used in an experiment. You have soil types used in an experiment or research. Used in an experiment or research. You could also have the breed or sex of animals. So generally, total variation in any set of measurements can therefore be written as follows. So we'll look at that at the next page. So there's a relationship between the total variation with respect to the assigned causes, bias, and random errors. So taking a look at these three basic types of variation or variability associated with biomedical data, we could now deduce what total variation is. So we take that now in our next page. So right here, we now look at total variation as any set. So what will be the total variation considering the three types of variation that could occur? So total variation in any set of measurements. In any set of measurements can therefore total variation can therefore be written as follows. So you have your total variation is equal to your assignable causes plus your bias plus your what? Random error. So that is total variation. So thank you for listening. This will end on importance of statistics in biomedical data or biomedical research or biomedical experiment. I'll see you on the next set of lecture going forward, looking at the sampling methods and what types of sampling methods we have in carrying out statistical analysis.